So you have indicated that you and your partner are currently apart, meaning most likely the Australian partner is in Australia and the prospective applicant, the partner visa applicant, is overseas, offshore. Now, in that situation, depending on the answers to a couple of questions, we would typically suggest some particular appropriate strategies. The first question that I always ask people in this scenario is, how quickly do you want your partner here? How quickly do you want your partner here? If the answer to that question is as soon as possible, which in all honesty is probably 95% of the time that I receive that answer, then what we typically suggest is a starting point is to try to get the partner in Australia on another visa first, with the ultimate objective of then applying for an onshore partner visa. So a quick kind of diagram of what that looks like. It's the Aussie sponsors here, the partner visa applicant is overseas. Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Nepal, India, Bangladesh, a few other ones, okay? Some common migrant countries that apply for partner visas. And you're separated, but you want the partner here as quickly as possible. If you go straight for an offshore 309 or a prospective marriage visa, which are the offshore partner visa options, okay, so if the 309 are for couples that are married or in what I call strong de facto relationships, which is challenging if you're physically apart, which is what the situation is, but still does happen. Or the prospective marriage visas for couples that are engaged. Engaged, that is an option. You don't have to apply for a prospective marriage visa if you're engaged. You can apply for a 309 if you marry, or if you are still in a strong de facto relationship. So there's a few variations to this, but in terms of options, offshore partner visas, there's two. The full 309 for couples that are already married or in strong de facto relationships, or for couples that are or for couples that are engaged, there might be an appropriate option to submit the prospective marriage visa. The issue though is, irrespective of which one of these you apply for, there's always a processing time lag. Now, the government don't publish processing averages for these visas that are regional specific. They just publish global estimates. So if you go to the government website and you look up how long are these visas taking, the global estimate for any of these is going to be 24 months or more. We actually don't look at that information anymore. It's not accurate and it's not regional specific. The reason I say that is what typically affects processing times the most in terms of these offshore visa options is where the applicant is at lodgement, where they reside, because where they reside influences the consulate that it goes to. There are consulates, Australian consulates and embassies all over the world that are responsible for processing applications from regions. So let's say if you're in the Philippines, if your partner's in the Philippines, it goes to Manila. That's the consulate that is authorized to process offshore applications for people, for clients, as the government put it, overseas, in Philippines specifically. And then, there's kind of, if this is the world, there's key kind of processing consulates all over the world, and they cover regions. So the issue is that each one of these has their own unique processing average, because it's influenced by the volume of applications that are submitted in that area, and also the amount of case officers or manpower that those embassies have to process that volume of applications. So therefore, there's a huge variance across each of these core consulates. And the government don't tell you, they do not tell you how long the average is. You actually have to buy that data from them, which we actually do periodically to get an updated understanding. If you'd like information on consulate average processing times, then that is something that we do provide to people that book a call with us and obviously are interested in us handling this process. That's something we do give them as a thank you for booking that call. However, the main point is that even if you know the regional specific processing average, it's still going to be lengthy. You're looking at, variances of 6 to 24 months. Now, that's 6 to 24 months waiting for an offshore partner visa apart, because you're still apart in this situation, right? That's your scenario. You're apart. you've applied for one of these offshore partner visas, you then have to wait. You can apply for tourist visas to bring partners in whilst you're waiting for these offshore visas, but that's a short-term solution. It doesn't keep them in the country for long periods of time waiting for this kind of indefinite processing time. So because of all those downsides, what we always recommend first is to try to avoid this. Avoid these offshore variables as best as you can. And if you can get your partner onshore on an ETA visa, an e-visitor visa, happy days. These are instantly granted, they're multiple entry. Then depending on the facts of your relationship, it very likely is appropriate for the migrating partner to come onshore and then apply for an onshore partner visa. Now, if you're married, or if you're going to claim de facto, if you could prove de facto, then that's typically a better pathway. Get them onshore, apply onshore, get the bridging visa, keep them onshore with work rights, study rights, Medicare, and can also travel, can go back home whilst waiting for this visa to process, and avoid all this uncertainty. Be together waiting for the onshore partner visa application. That's generally the starting point. If I talk to couples that are apart, that's what I suggest. Now, sometimes I speak to people that have attempted these visas in the past. Let's say they've attempted the 600, which is the other tourist visa type in, and they've been refused. Now, that doesn't mean it isn't worth reattempting additional attempts for these visas. It can happen that the first, second, third attempt is refused and the fourth one can be granted. A phrase that I like to use when describing these visas is that they are a lottery. If you'd like more information around the pros and cons of this pathway, then please go to our YouTube channel. Please watch a video that we've uploaded that's called Get Your Partner Here Fast, Offshore Partner and Tourist Visa Options, something along those lines. And you'll see that I go over this in a lot more detail. But effectively, that's the advice, is avoid offshore if you can, particularly if you're in the context of being apart. Avoid an offshore partner visa if you can. Get the partner visa onshore and apply onshore. So some homework. Please go watch that YouTube video that I referenced before. Secondly, please also, available on our YouTube channel, please also watch our Partner Visa Secrets training modules. It's about a 3-hour combination total length of content that's split into 3 modules where I teach all partner visa criteria, but we also do cover this scenario of being apart and the options again. And it's like, I like to call it as getting your diploma for your Australian partner visa. You have my promise that it's worth your time to sit there and work through that content even together with your partner. You can stream it simultaneously, date night perhaps, and get an understanding of what I'm talking about here. Lastly, if you're interested in our team handling this process for you, please have a look somewhere around this video to book a call with our team. If not, it'll just be on our website. And I hope that this video has been helpful, and I look forward to hearing about your partner visa journey in future. Thank you, Martin from Salvo Migration. Bye-bye.